KZZ, your easy choice for soft hits at 95.9 FM. Whether it's wind, rain, or even snow, you'll stay informed with severe weather updates around the clock. When severe weather strikes, we break in anytime to bring you the critical information you need to keep your family safe. Brought to you exclusively by Serve Protein McGuire, your local fire, storm, and water restoration experts.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Ace now offers free assembly and free delivery, so it's never been easier to get a great grill for your family, like a Weber gas grill, a Traeger wood pellet grill, or a Big Green Egg charcoal grill. Only at your neighborhood Ace. Around the block, what you need in stock, with people who know their grills.
This is Brad from Gibson Ace Hardware in Clinton, Illinois. Stop in to see us, the helpful place at 114 North Madison Street, Clinton.
See participating store for details.
Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in studio today is Connie Miller with DeWitt Savings Bank. Connie, good to see you. How are you today?
I'm great.
Good to hear. Thanks for coming out and talking with us. And we're going to be talking something I know that's near and dear to you, and that is retirement, planning for retirement. Once you have that plan, how you execute it, how you know how much you need, all those things. But when it comes to retirement, where do we start in that planning process?
Oh, that's a good question. First of all, I would say we need to start. The first place you need to look is, do I have enough? How do I know I have enough? And so there's a lot of pieces that go into that. Most people in years past, they would retire around age 55, 57. A lot of people had pensions. Now we don't have those. So you have to figure it out yourself. So where is your income going to come from? And we call it a three-legged stool. It could be part pension. Only about 18% of Americans now have a pension who are working right now. So it could be pension, Social Security, and your savings are the three legs of your stool. And if you don't have a pension, then you have to beef up your savings is really what it is. But also, if you have less expenses when you retire, you're going to not need as much. So that's something you need to look at. But I will tell you that the retirement age, average retirement age in 94 was 57. Now it's 62. But we're living longer. And one of the reasons people have been delaying that retirement is because they just don't have the money.
Okay. Yeah.
This is a new shift in America, switching from a pension plan where your employer put money away for you to you having to put it away.
Right.
And a lot of people just aren't prepared. So it takes extra years to get to that point. But sadly, most people think nowadays they're going to retire around 65, but they end up having to retire earlier. Most people.
Is that because like a physical thing or?
Yeah, it could be their health. It could be a spouse's health, having to be a caregiver for an adult or something like that. But most commonly, it's a job loss.
Oh, yeah.
Older workers tend to make more money and they're the first to go sometimes. Or, your industries are changing so often. So that happens as well.
Sure.
So most people are not prepared when they retire.
Okay.
That's the scary part.
Yeah.
So I would say if you haven't done it yet, I would sit down with your spouse, significant other, and put a plan together. Look at all of your finances. What do we have? When do we want to retire? And then look and see if you can do it. A lot of people try to do this on their own. You can hire an advisor to help you with it. I have mentioned before, I use software to do that myself, along with meeting with a financial advisor every once in a while just to make sure I'm on track.
Aren't you a financial advisor?
Yes, but my good friend is too. So I like to have that, I'm a former financial advisor, but I like having that backup. And a big key of it is taxes, insurance, or taxes and insurance. So taxes, the way you put your money, save it and for retirement determines how much taxes you're going to have.
Okay.
And that's something
what do you mean by
talk
that?
About another time, but that's like if you put your money in after-tax funds like a Roth,
Mm-hmm.
it will grow tax-free, and then when you go to take it out of the Roth, it is not taxable. Whereas if you put your money in a 401k or an IRA, that's pre-tax money, and when
Mm-hmm.
you go to take it out and it grows, you're paying tax on all of it.
Okay.
So a lot of people will see a large tax burden when they get older.
Mm-hmm.
Also, your Social Security can be taxed as well. Up to
Mhm.
85% of your Social Security can be taxed as well.
Okay.
So in the state of Illinois, we do not tax retirement income at this time,
Mm-hmm.
but other states do.
Gotcha. So let's dive into putting a plan together, Connie. And I venture a guess this conversation might hinge on where folks are at stages of life. Let's say there's someone new to the workforce. They're out of college, they've got that first job. And I got to say, when I was at that point in my life, like, retirement wasn't on my mind in the least. So, keeping that in mind when you're that age, but then you get into your 30s and you start to think about it, and maybe it's not as top of mind as, as it should be. And then you get into your 40s and it's like definitely top of mind because you see the light at the end of the tunnel and you're like, gosh, where do I go from here? So, or am I totally wrong? Does it not
No,
depend on?
that's a great point.
Yeah.
And so I would say start your working life with an end goal. Like a lot of teachers say they're going to retire at age 62.
Mhm.
That's a fair age. That's when people can start taking Social Security at 62.
Mhm.
School teachers, though, they have a pension, so
Mhm.
they don't get the Social Security, but some public workers do.
Okay.
But that would be a great way to start. When you graduate from college, have a goal, but start saving, put your retirement money away
Mhm.
first thing.
Okay.
And just once you do that, you learn how to live on a budget that's less, and that's just normal for
Mhm.
you.
Right.
And learn to be content with what you've been given.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I was at a retirement party for a good friend of mine, and one thing he talked about in his, he gave a speech and thanking everybody for coming and all that stuff, and he was going through all the people that he was thanking, and one of the things he said was, I learned a lot from this guy who taught me never spend a raise, always save your raises, that sort of
That's cool.
thing. Yeah. So that was sage advice, probably.
And he gets to have a retirement party. There's so many people
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
don't do that, or they're working in their 70s. 20% of Americans are working past 65 right now.
Really?
Yeah. So
Wow.
it's not as dreamy of a retirement as they plan. But
Uh-huh.
if you plan like every 5 years, you're 25, 30, 35, 40,
Mhm.
to do a financial review and just go through and see where you are
Mhm.
towards your retirement. Because there's tons of software nowadays that can show you that,
Mhm.
and you can predict, okay, this is how much I have to put away if I want to have this for retirement, and it takes into account inflation as
Mhm.
well.
Mhm.
So that would be a great way to just look at your retirement plan and see if it's on track. And laws change, things like that. Healthcare's gotten ridiculously expensive.
Sure.
In my lifetime, Social Security full retirement age was 65. Now
Mhm.
it's 67.
Mhm.
So, and they're looking to maybe do that again. So those are some things to keep abreast of as you go
Mhm.
through your plan.
Mhm.
I always say you can't oversave for retirement. Be prepared.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't, you're not wanting to live a miserable life because you're saving just for retirement, but the idea that you can be over prepared, and then you could cut the cord earlier if you want, or you'd have more options maybe
Mhm.
to change careers
Sure.
when you get older.
Yeah, definitely. Connie Miller, DeWitt Savings Bank, our guest in studio today. We talk retirement. One thing that a lot of I don't know, maybe it's just the friends I have, but I feel like people my age, they want to do the stock market thing where they're kind of playing the buys and the dips and the dividends and all those things, the calls and all that stuff, all the financial, Wall Street lingo, and that's they feel like that's their ticket to retirement. What say you about that?
I think I mentioned this last time I was here. 97% of day traders go broke.
Uh-huh.
97%. So
Mhm.
think about that. That's 3% of them who've been in the business for 3 years actually make any money.
Mm.
So most people cannot outbeat the market.
Mhm.
Even computerized funds don't always outbeat the market. We have people who spend their lives researching and buying stocks and putting mutual funds together, and they can't outbeat the market. So
When you say the market, what do you mean by that?
that means the S&P 500, that's the biggest 500 stocks in America. Currently, its average is about 10% return. And for someone, I know it's more like gambling and fun for them to do try to outbeat the market.
Yeah.
When I was an advisor, I had 0% of people who were successful doing that. They would always ask, can I do this? Can I have a little account? I would set it up for them, and they 100% lost their money.
Yeah. It's a lot like sports gambling. That's another one.
That's what I equate it to. It's sort of that dopamine. And hey, if you have fun money and you want to blow it, it just think of it that way. It's not good. There's no get rich quick scheme. There's a book out by A Millionaire Next Door, and
I read that
there's one that one of Dave Ramsey's people wrote too. No one cited a single stock as their ticket to being rich and being a millionaire.
Right.
It's all hard work, self-discipline. It takes over 10 years usually to become a millionaire. And most of them have done it through their jobs and their 401k plans.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's a grind. I mean, that's what it is, and it's a grind to get to retirement, and when you get there, you want to end that grind, right? You want to have it pay off. So,
well, that's a good point. So two things to think of there is, you want to end that grind of going to work every day.
Yeah.
But you need to be emotionally prepared for retirement.
Sure.
And that's something I'm really learning with some of my coworkers who are looking to retire. And, you want to be prepared, have ideas of what you're going to do in retirement, maybe get connected before you retire, like at the health club, maybe at your church or something like that, to have some groups and people that you can socialize with and have that community that you might be missing at work and that purpose. That's really important.
Yeah.
And a lot of people also, they just miss that paycheck. So be ready financially, put a budget together, make sure you can live on that budget. Maybe test run it for a year before you pull the plug and say, I'm going to retire. Make sure you can make it on that budget before you do it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Good advice, Connie. I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and take a break, come back with some more. Connie Miller, DeWitt Savings Bank, is my guest in studio today. More to come with Connie on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
Let's check the markets now on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn, beans, and Chicago wheat all higher at this hour. July corn up 3.5, 478 3/4. September corn up 2 3/4, 484 1/2. And December new crop $5 1/2, up 2 3/4. July beans up 7.5, 12.20 1/2. August beans up 7 1/4, 12.15 1/4. New crop November $12 1/2, up 5 3/4. July Chicago wheat up 17 1/4, 651 1/4. September KC wheat up 18 3/4, 716. July bean meal 326.40, up $1.60. July bean oil up 90 cents, 74.64. Livestock trade, May feeders up 32 cents, 368.72. June live cattle up 205, 251.45. May lean hogs up 7 cents, 90.95. Energy market, July Brent crude oil 107.67, 3.37.
Here's Matt Hart, owner of the Hart Media Group in Clinton, talking about living up to the company's tagline of connecting people.
Whether it's on our AM, our FM, our video, our social media, our camera, that we got here in studio, it's all about local people and telling those local stories. We're really excited to be doing that. We're excited to be adding some new components to this.
Hart purchased the Miller Media Group in August 2025 and looks forward to serving DeWitt County and Central Illinois for years to come.
Spring just has a way of putting a little more energy into everything. Brighter days, warmer air, and more reasons to get out and enjoy it. Your home should keep up with that. At Hickory Point Garden Homes, you'll have your own one-story duplex with bright open spaces, a private patio, and neighborhood walking paths just outside your door for that perfect stroll in the spring sunshine. You can spend less time managing your home and more time enjoying the warm spring days ahead. See what that feels like at Hickory Point Garden Homes in Forsyth, Illinois, and step into comfortable living for 55 and better.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Connie Miller, DeWitt Savings Bank, my guest in studio today. We talk retirement. Connie, one thing you brought up to me in the break I thought was a very good point, and I don't know that a lot of people think about this. Maybe they do, and I'm just in the minority, is entering retirement debt-free. Why is this so important?
It's important because if you don't have any debt, that's more money you have to go towards your living expenses. So let's say your mortgage is $1,500 a month, and I'm talking just the principal and interest. If that's gone, that's $1,500 that's freed up for you to spend in retirement. So it's a great goal to say I need to be debt free by the time I retire. I read an article that said 75% of people who going into retirement right now have some sort of debt, and they did not plan to have that debt. Whether it's a car or maybe they have some credit card debt that they didn't expect to have.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of people too nowadays are having medical debt because they have that gap between Medicare starts at 65. They're 62 when they retire. What do? You know, they might have COBRA through work, which is only about 18 months, but they have to find an option for that, and that can be costly. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that insurance piece you were mentioning to me, you know, there is that gap. If you want to retire at 60, 61, 62, but Medicare doesn't kick in until 65, you mentioned a lot of people finding part-time work just for that health insurance.
Absolutely. So my husband, a bunch of his coworkers who retired, they all work at Menards part-time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And they do it. They like it. They enjoy it. They get to give advice. And then, you know, people are actually going to listen, not like their kids are like, yeah, you know, but they get health insurance, and that's why they do it. Health insurance can be really pricey. It can be about $1,200 per person for a decent plan. If you do COBRA, not only do you pay the whole premium that your employer was paying plus your portion, they can add to about, I think it's 2% administrative cost to it.
So, oh, wow. Oh, man.
I don't know if that's still a lot, but yeah, it used to be. So there are options. There's cost sharing programs like MediShare where you pay in, and then the deductible, it's like a high deductible health plan sort of, but it's like you're uninsured, but you share each other's costs and people pay you back for your costs. So there's that. Also look into your current employer. They might have retiree health. I know several people who retired and they drive buses now because they get health insurance.
Yeah,
so those are some ways you can get it.
What do you think about what is it like? It's like direct access care or something like that. What do you?
Oh, where you pay like a certain fee?
Yeah. What do you think of those types of plans?
There's several places around here that do that. And it's if you're someone like, let's say you have little kids and you don't have health insurance and you're at the doctor a lot, that's a great option for you because it's like a primary care provider and they can do a lot for you. I had several friends who went to someone in Leroy and they thought it was a great plan. They had 6-7 kids and they just paid a family fee and it was worth it, but it doesn't cover your hospital or any of those other ancillary costs. Like, you know, if you have to have x-rays or things, you still have, that's what I was looking at here.
Break your hand.
You have to pay those yourself, but you can get a discount most of the time.
Financial aid.
And that you're self-insured or you're self-pay, they might offer you a discount.
Okay.
And I noticed like a lot of chiropractors are no longer in health plans and they just want to go private pay and you just pay them out of pocket. So a lot of people are starting to do that.
Sure. Interesting stuff. Connie, I've got a couple of minutes yet still with you this morning. What did you want to get to on retirement today? We haven't touched on yet.
Well, I think we talked a little bit about this, but it's really important to have a budget. And when you look at your budget, you know, what you're spending now is not going to be what you spend in retirement. You have to add that cost of health insurance in there, and you'll probably have some medical bills, prescriptions that you're not used to paying.
Right.
And once you hit 65, you may have Medicare, But you also there's Medigap insurance, you know, you have to pay a premium based on your income. And that's a big surprise to most people. They think it's free and it's not free. So those are some things to build into your budget. But also there's phases of retirement. Like when you first retire, and let's say you retire at age 60 and you're perfectly healthy, you might want to go do some fun stuff for the first 5 years. And that's going to cost you some money.
Right.
So you want to budget that into your plan. And then as you get older, you might slow down. Things will be a little less expensive. And then the end of your life, you may need long-term care. So some people look into long-term care insurance as an option if they don't think they'll have enough money at that end of their life to do that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things you can model in your plan. And I was doing mine manually. I think I told you about this. I had spreadsheets and I was constantly moving things around and trying to figure out when should we take Social Security and all that. And I started looking for software to do that. And I found one I like. I mean, there's several. Personal Capital's one, but the one I chose was called Boldin, Boldin. And it models like, if this is my budget and I want to retire this date, this is how much, and how much we're going to have in Social Security, and the average cost of living increases are baked into it and all that. And it will give you probability of success. It does a Monte Carlo simulation where it takes 1,000 different instances of how the market's going to run and all that. And I can choose how I'm going to be investing my money. And then it will also show should I invest in Roth or things like that?
Sure.
The ones that are tax free.
Sure. Well, Connie, how do folks get a hold of you to go over anything we've talked about here today?
They can call me at the bank. The number for DeWitt Savings Bank is 217-935-9470. And they can ask for Connie.
Very good. Connie Miller, DeWitt Savings Bank, my guest in studio today. Network news comes your way next on the WHOW Morning Show.